All right, guys, so super excited about the video of today. I'm going to show you how you can clone any personality that you look up to and turn them into your life coaches, ghostwriters, business advisors using CrewAI. AI is a multi-AI agent framework. Whether you want to have Marc Andreessen as your co-founder or David Goggins as your life coach, all of this is going to be possible by scraping videos from YouTube or Instagram. And I'm going to show you how you can actually have these people to write articles or give you feedback on your marketing campaign. I've already built it for an agency who's personalizing chatbots for content creators, and it's worked wonders. Very excited about this video. I'm going to walk you through all the fundamentals of CrewAI and how you can implement this in your business. All right, so before we dive into the specifics of how we're going to build a crew, let's just stop for a minute on what CrewAI is. So it's an open source platform that has been making a lot of noise recently because I think 50% of the Fortune 200s have been adopting and implementing Crews. They just announced a partnership with IBM. You can see all the logos who have been implementing Crews. And so the way it works is essentially to every agent, you're going to give them like different tasks that they're going to have to accomplish. And then together, the sum of all these tasks are supposedly going to help you accomplish your goal. So in our example that I'm going to walk you through, if you want to have David Goggins to turn into your gym buddy, you're gonna have like different agents. Like one is gonna scrape the videos about David Goggins. The other one is gonna push all that information into a database. And then you're gonna have like an army of other agents. You're gonna try to retrieve information depending on your needs. So if you actually want to generate your own training plan, or if you wanna have like motivational quotes, you're gonna have like different agents that are gonna get called. And so this is the power of this Crews. Essentially, it's super versatile. It's performing really, really well. You can see here, everyone is going crazy about it. I just cannot stop talking about it either. There is a bit of a learning curve, but it's for sure a lot easier to implement and adopt than LangGraph or LangChain. I'm gonna walk you through the example. So let's go. All right, so this is how the Crew works. We have as an input the YouTube handle, and then we have an army of agents who are all specialized and who will execute different tasks. So in this case, the first agent scrapes the video, the second agent adds it to the RAG database, then we have a third agent who's inferring values from the content in the database, a fourth one who's finding the business info, and then finally we have an agent who's converting all of that information into a report, the report about the creator, and this is the report that you can use for the different use cases that we discussed. What's important to see here is that every agent has access to different tools. So in this case, the agent who's scraping the video, I created a custom tool that allows him to scrape YouTube, find the most relevant videos. Then there's another agent who's connected to who's capable of pushing the information from YouTube into the RAG database. And then we have a third tool called Query Database, which I will show you, that allows the different agents to query and ask a list of questions to the database. And then finally, we have a last tool that allows the agent who's creating the report to tap into templates and examples that we already have to help him figure out how to create a report that is going to be helpful later on. So the final output is the creator report. And as I said, the input in this case will be the YouTube handle. So let's dive into the code now. So now we're on Cursor. I'm going to show you all the code. We're going to go through it, but I just want to quickly show you how the agents work. So I'm going to start with the input, and then I'm going to show you the kind of output that you might expect. So here, I'm actually going to just launch the main script that we're going to go over. So in this case, it's going to ask me for the YouTube channel handle that we just saw. So Mind Motivation Coaching. And now you can see that the crew started. So here, the scraper agent is getting the 10 most relevant videos for the channel. Now another agent is adding the information to the database that we're going to be able to RAG. So to basically ask questions to the database about the content of those videos. So based on all of the information that we have about David Goggins, it's going to turn this into a narrative. So if you want to build a bot where you just want to be able to send WhatsApps to David Goggins to like get his feedback. So yeah, so that's essentially how the tool works. Those videos are essentially focusing on extracting biographical events of David Goggins, but you could also prompt and request the agents to extract information about his business. So if you want to learn about how to build a similar business, he probably has like more videos where he talks about that. Then you can also replicate that across more channels. So maybe you want to extract information from the news or Instagram. So you could actually duplicate this Crew and just extract information not from YouTube, but from Instagram, or yeah, you get the idea. So now we're going to go over the code. All right, so this is the script where I'm orchestrating all the different agents together. So essentially what you have here are all the agents that I'm initializing. So we have the database manager agent, the scraper agent. So as I said, the scraper agent is actually going to scrape YouTube. Here, I'm going to walk you through everything, but essentially this agent has access to this tool called fetch relevant videos from YouTube channel. Then you have another agent who's adding the information to the vector database. You have a general research agent who's going to query and ask questions to the database, and so on and so forth. And then you essentially have to initialize all the different tasks that I just mentioned. So every agent can have one or several tasks. Generally, the best practice is to create as many agents as you have tasks, as it allows you to have more customization and make sure that every agent is like best suited to achieve these tasks. That's essentially like the configuration of the crew. And then finally here you have the crew function that we are creating, where basically you have to consolidate the agents, the task, the process. Whereas setting it up to process sequential, it means that every task will be run after the other, but you can also run it asynchronously. You can also have a hierarchy, which essentially means that you have an agent who oversees other agents. So it allows you to replicate the potential hierarchical structures that you have within your own company. That's how the first script works. So now let's dive into the agents. All right, so like I said, there are different agents that we need for this crew. And as you saw in the main script, we have a database manager agent, a scrape agent, a vector DB agent. And then here you have to configure and just specify a little bit their goals and backstory. When you have an agent, it's super important to define their thought process. It's going to serve as the foundation of how these agents will think. So in this case, for the first few agents, it's quite straightforward because they have like very narrow scope of work. But as we go on and look at the general research agent who's specialized in querying the data, this is where it gets super important to be as specific as possible. So in this case, I'm creating an agent who's called a research agent. And the goal of this agent is to consolidate information about the creator. And the backstory of this agent is a doctor. So you're Dr. Lena Martinez, biographer. So you kind of try to give credentials to build up the credibility of this agent so that the agent is going to be able to infer specific things from the data. You help the agent evaluate how to define whether he accomplished his task, or in this case, she. And so yeah, that's how these agents work. Now, if we go over the set of tasks, so this is a bit more text heavy, but essentially, like I said, every agent has a specific task. In my case, I have the database manager agent, right? This one who's going to accomplish this task. So reset the vector database. I'm doing this because essentially I want the crew to reset so that it doesn't retrieve information from different content creators. This is helpful if you want to use the tools on different creators and you want to consolidate all the information. Then you have the task of scraping YouTube channel. So here, as you can see, the task is to fetch the 10 most relevant videos. So this is the scrape agent who's going to be responsible for that. Then processing the video is essentially adding all the information from YouTube into the vector database. And then this is where we have a set of tasks where we actually explain how to find the achievements. So in the case of David Goggins, we have the general research agent that I just showed you. Here, general research agent who's actually going to accomplish this task. And here you explain, you're being super specific about how the agent needs to accomplish this task. So that's why like agents are very powerful if you know what you want to automate. So in this case, there's a lot of trial and error to like come up with the final version. But the goal is to give like a very clear-cut methodology on which questions to ask to the database, how you're supposed to analyze the information, so the analysis protocol, what kind of information does the agent need, what are the quality controls, so you need to like set up constraints, and then finally evaluation criteria. And so here in this case, because LLMs are very likely, the goal is to reduce the likelihood that they hallucinate. You want to give like an evaluation criteria to ensure that they come up with relevant and fact-based information. The goal is that for every agent, you essentially want to ask the database for information, and then you want to structure it and just add it to a file in a very structured manner. So I'm going to use Pydantic objects. And essentially what it does is it's going to use unstructured data from the database. So for instance, like different anecdotes about the author. And then by defining in the task that we want to use like specific achievements. So let's say that David Goggins became a Navy SEAL. In the achievements, you're basically going to ask to turn this anecdote from like joining the Navy SEALs into achievement object number 1. This is where it gets very powerful because you can do this across different formats. So if you want to parse PDFs where you want to extract, for instance, like income and revenue or like revenues, then essentially you're going to ask the agent to scrape all the PDFs. And then from that PDF, you would be able to say, okay, extract me the revenue. This is how you should find the revenue. It's supposed to be in this tab. And then as soon as you find it, you add it to this Pydantic object. And then essentially you have the task of querying the database with like different list of questions to then infer different things. So in the first case, we had find achievement task. So this is a set of questions to find out more about the achievements. Then we have a task which is about finding challenges. So what are the challenges that David Goggins has encountered? So those are the questions that the agent should ask to the database. So what obstacles has the author overcome? And then it's going to use all the reply to that query to the database and then populate the Pydantic objects. And then finally, we have the prompting RAG task, where we're actually going to use the consolidated information about the content creator. So all of the achievements, all of the values, all of the challenges. And then we're going to ask the agent, okay, based on templates that you have and all the information that you know now about David Goggins, turn this into a report. And this is the final output of the agent. So here I'm walking through like, okay, you have values. So give me the name of the value, the context and the description. And yeah, so that's essentially how it works. So now we can go over the tools, because like I said, each of these agents are only so good as the tools that they have to, you know. So it's just like when you're in your job, you might be like the smartest person out there. If you are not set up for success and you're not being given like the access to the right databases, you cannot like make up information out of thin air. So this is a bit like the same logic here with tools. So let's go over the tools now. So fetch relevant videos from YouTube channel. This is essentially like the script that you need to generate to help the agent achieve his task. This is what it takes as an input. So it takes, the input is the YouTube handle, and then as the output is a videos list of video info. So this is information that we're going to get from the YouTube channel. So the video ID, the title, the description, publish date, and so on. And then the script is essentially going to fetch all the information from the YouTube channel. And then I think all the code you're going to have access to it. But I think what's quite interesting and quite powerful in your case, so here essentially I'm using an LLM that is going to scrape all the descriptions of the videos and then rank them. So if you want to go over like the last 200 videos and then rank them based on your goals. So let's say you want to find out and like have David Goggins to act as your life coach. You probably want to tap into the knowledge where he talks about his own life. So if you use the description about the videos, then you're going to be able to say, okay, I actually want to scrape the 10 most relevant videos where he talks about his life. And this is going to be like the database that you're going to tap into for your use case. But if you want to actually use David Goggins as a business coach, you might actually say, okay, find me the most relevant videos where he talks the most about his business. So you would have to like tweak that tool, but essentially like it works the same. So that's pretty much it. And then I'm using this other tool, which allows me to add all the content, so the video descriptions, the transcripts, and so on, to the vector database. And so this tool is called Add Video to Vector DB. And essentially what it does, it uses image chain. So I'm going to show you, it's essentially a free tool that allows you to add information in different formats. So audio, text, video, whatever you want, into a database that you're then going to be able to query like very easily. So in this case, I'm like resetting the tool, app reset, so that it starts from scratch. And then essentially what it's doing is, so it created like an instance of so in this case, it's like the vector database that I'm initializing every time. And then I'm adding information. So in this case, I'm adding the transcript text. I have like another video where I'm showing you how you can create your own YouTube summarizer. So it works exactly the same. And then finally, what you have is the query. So it's very easy. Essentially, it's using the list of questions from the different tasks, right, that I showed you. And then it's going to query the database with those list of questions. And the way it works is it's going to call the instance function app, and that's going to query the database with that list of questions. And it's going to do that for every agent. It's going to ask like the list of questions from every agent, and then slowly but surely it's going to start populating this content creator info, which is essentially the list of all the information that we are collecting about David Goggins. So if we go over the main crew, this is the content creator info. So essentially here, if we want to generate a report about David Goggins, we are going to get like a list of his life events. We're going to get the business information about him, like the values, the challenges, achievements, his first name and last name. So we're essentially consolidating all of that. And this is going to serve our last agent, who's going to essentially use this object to turn it into a report, right? So if we go over the final output here that I showed you earlier, this is the Pydantic object containing all the information about David Goggins. So as you can see, we have content creator info, first name David, last name Goggins, life events. Those are like all the life events that the agents have managed to collect. Then there's the other agent who managed to collect information about this business, the agent who specializes in inferring values, who find those values like self-discipline, scientific curiosity, overcoming adversity, challenges, and so on and so forth. And then finally, we have this prompting RAG agent who's gonna use that object and turn it into the report, which is here. Your name is David Goggins, you're an English-speaking male, and so on. So yeah, that's pretty much how it works. Incredibly powerful. You can replicate that again as across YouTube or the news or any kind of content format that you have. You can even consolidate information from different YouTube channels that you may encounter. Yeah, hopefully you found this helpful and interesting, and hopefully I'm gonna have some more videos in the coming weeks about more AI agents use cases.